Let's look at the homework 6.9, problem number 8. Right, so we have a second derivative given here, and we have a couple of initial conditions, so to find the original function, right? So first, we want to find the f prime of t. We can find that by taking the antiderivative of 4e to the t plus 6 times sine of t with respect to t. Alright, so let's take the antiderivative. So the antiderivative of 4e to the t is 4e to the t. So we like this guy. And then antiderivative sine of t is negative cosine. So it's negative 6 cosine of t. And then plus some constant. So I'll put the c1. Right. Then we cannot actually use these guys because it's f of 0, not f prime. So we're going to wait. So let's take another antiderivative to find the f of t. Right? So we take the antiderivative of 4e to the t minus 6 cosine of t plus c1 with respect to t. Right? So this is going to give us antiderivative of 4e to the t is still 4e to the t. Right? Then antiderivative of cosine is sine, so it's going to be negative 6 sine of t. Right? Then antiderivative of c1 is going to be c1 times t. Right? Then you might have some constant, so I put c2. Alright, then what we can do is we can use these two conditions. So we plug in 0. Right, so e to the 0 is 1, so you get 4. Right, sine of 0 is 0, so that's 0. And the c1 times 0 is that's 0. So plus c2. Right, so this is supposed to be equal to 0. Right, which gives us so we can see that the subtracting 4 from both sides, so c2 is going to be negative 4. Right, then we found that c2, then we can use the other one. So f of pi is going to be, right, so if you plug in pi, so that's 4e to the pi, right, and the sine of pi is actually 0, and the c1 pi, so plus c1 times pi, right, plus c2 is negative 4, right, and this is supposed to be equal to 0. Right, so what we can do is we can solve for c1, right? So let's see, add 4 and subtract 4e to the pi. So you get the c1 pi is equal to 4 minus 4e to the pi. Right? Then we can just divide through by pi. So c1 is equal to, maybe we can factor out 4. Then you have 1 minus e to the pi. And then you have to divide by pi. Right? So therefore, we have a complete formula for f of t. right? So complete formula would be, right, so we have 4 e to the t, right, minus 6 sine of t, right? And at C1, it came out to be plus 4 over pi 1 minus e to the pi t, and the C2 is negative 4, right? So that's the f of t. All right, so let's type it in. All right, so what we found was 4 e to the t minus 6 sine of t, right? And plus 4 over pi, and the pi we have to that's a Greek letter, and pi would be right here. Oops, pi, and 1 minus e to the pi t minus 4, right? So let's go down and submit. Let's see. Okay, let's go down and submit for testing. All right, it came back, and it looks like we got this one correctly. All right, and that's it. I hope that this was clear.